So once you've found these builders, I really loved that you talked about not whether, you think the builder is any good, but you actually talked about how might you want to ensure that the builder actually wants to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to some extent, builders, you're doing due diligence on the builders, they are going to do due diligence on you, because they don't want to work with bad clients. And when I was a builder, our common reason that we gave for not working with clients was, sorry, we're too busy. Now, so if anyone has ever continually been told by builders that they're too busy, then maybe let's just flip this on its head and see if I can help you become a better client. And the ways to become a better client, the first thing is having some clear knowledge as to actually what you're trying to achieve with your property. Remember, we've already said that these builders are not at property investing events. So they don't necessarily understand, for instance, what a service accommodation unit needs to be. They don't know what is expected in a service accommodation unit. So you shouldn't be asking them these questions. You shouldn't be saying to them, well, what should I do in the kitchen to make this usable for a family holiday let or something like that, because that's not their business. You should be saying to them, to use the property in this use, I need to introduce this, and this. And here's the layout of it. This is why I need remote access central heating, because this is what I know my clients are going to need. And the same with HMOs. Don't say to a builder, oh, can you make sure it complies with the HMO regulations? But they possibly don't even know what an HMO is. But if you tell them it needs a fire alarm, it needs fire doors, it needs this, and this, they can happily deliver that. And the way we tell them this information is either through a series of drawings, which we might have got in conjunction with an architect, or it will be some kind of specification. And remember that it's you that's going to own this building. It's you that's going to benefit from its use, service accommodation use, renting it out, or indeed possibly even selling it. It's you that gets the benefit. Therefore, it's you that needs to steer the builder in the right direction. So, for instance, if you ring a builder up and say, oh, can you meet me at a property next week and we can have a bit of a walk round, I'll tell you what I need, the builder's going to be thinking, well, this is someone who doesn't really seem to know what they want. Why can't they write it down? Why can't they send me the drawings they need? And when they've sent me that, I'll happily go and meet them there next week, because I know I'm going to be in competition, and I want to be in competition that have got the same paperwork as me, because I know I'm now looking at the same project and I'm understanding the project in the same way as the other builders that are going to come along and look at it the same stuff. Otherwise, who knows what we're all going to understand. So having some good, clear knowledge as to what you want to achieve, you've got that written down in a format that you want to, that's clear and easy to understand. It doesn't have to be in builder's technical speak. It just needs to be clear and show that you are ahead of the game and that you've thought about the products that you want and you've thought about what you're trying to deliver. Then suddenly you are right at the top of the list, because builders don't earn any money from pricing projects. They want to win work, but in turn, they don't want to waste money pricing or getting involved with projects that look as though they're disorganised. Because if it's disorganised at the start, it's going to be disorganised all the way through. They're going to phone you up and say, right, I've put in what you've told me to put in. And you're going to say, oh, I didn't realise I'd told you. That's not what I wanted. I've changed my mind. And changing of your mind leads to uncertainty. The builder then says, well, I've got to charge you for this because I've already tiled the walls in the white tiles. I didn't realise you wanted the pink ones. So now I've got to charge you for taking the tiles off, and I've got to go and buy the tiles, and I've got to get a man in a van to go and buy them quickly this afternoon. So there's £25. And you say, what, £400 extra for these tiles? And we've now got dispute. We don't want dispute, because that's where the relationship breaks down. And the builder that thinks, well, there's someone here who doesn't seem to know what they want. How can I be sure that the kitchen's going to be delivered at the right time, and that my carpenter isn't standing around waiting for the delivery? So this is all about demonstrating that you know what you've got to do. And sometimes that is a case of slowing down a little bit so that you are properly organised to speed up later on, rather than, well, I've got the keys, let's meet a builder there tomorrow morning and let's see what we can do. That's not the attitude for them.
Yeah, I love that. And in fact, it was interesting. I was speaking to a lady the other day, coaching her, and she'd said that she'd, read your book, been on one of your courses, and she felt really proud. She'd given a schedule of works to the builder, and he literally looked really shocked. And he was like, wow, I wish everyone did this. And she was like, yeah. So I was, really, really proud about it. And that's exactly right, isn't it? So if you can see that somebody is going to not, because inherently, who wants to work with people that are going to be difficult, going to be a pain potentially? And you might not mean to be a pain, but like we spoke about, we have control in what our destiny is and what we do. We sometimes don't know how to get there, but by putting all these things in place, it can really work. And also I was thinking about that. If the main thing that we hear from builders is that I'm too busy, if you're really specific of your project, and let's say they can look at that and go, it's this, this, and this, they're really clear. Okay, well, actually, I could actually fit that in between this project and that project because I know so specifically, and you've made it so clear. Whereas somebody else who goes, as you said, come and have a look round. What do you think? Do you think I should do that? Do you think I should do that? They're going to be thinking, oh no, I'm never going to fit that in, so to speak. So that, I suppose that's quite an interesting one, like you say. So okay, so let's say we've gone down this route. It all comes down to, as we've spoken about, getting quotes, doesn't it? And, we've already spoken about getting crazy high quotes. I always look at builders and those kind of tradespeople and really feel for them, that they have to do so many quotes, and, there's so many jobs that they're not going to get. So, yeah, how would you go ahead and get them to price for projects?
So I think at the moment, builders are just starting to get a little bit more hungry for work. So that definitely does make it a little bit easier. And the reason for that primarily is that members of the public are not quite spending as much money on their own houses at the moment, which means that there's builders that are looking for work with us as property investors. So that's a good thing to know. But that's no excuse for cutting corners. So I would still be looking for 6 builders to price my project. So I've got my long list. I've been critical. I've cut that down, and I found 6 builders that I want to work. Because the market we're in, the smaller builder market, one of them is going to go on holiday. He's going to forget he's booked a holiday, and it doesn't work. Another one's going to have a family disaster, and not be able to get you a quote. So you might get 4 prices. And that really, that's what you want to be looking at. You want to have 4 prices from 4 businesses that you have done some reasonable due diligence on up front, that you are reasonably happy can deliver. But you still need to continue being critical, as I said earlier on. If they don't turn up for a pre-arranged appointment, that is a negative. Because what else can't they arrange? It's a bit different if they ring you and say they got stuck in traffic. These things happen. If you've sent them all of the information of the project, and then they turn up and they say, "Oh, I need to come back again next week with my electrician." And it's like, well, I've told you. You knew if you'd read it, you'd have known you needed the electrician. That shouldn't be a surprise. So again, they're not necessarily reasons to say no, but they're reasons just to have a bit of a negative against them. And what you'll find genuinely is that 1 or 2 builders shine all of the way along. They are on the case. They send you a text message to confirm that they're on their way. They send you an email confirming that they're going to price it by next Wednesday or whatever you've agreed with them. And you just start to see these better builders rising above the others. And you're not going to see the only way you'll really start to see the best builders is by seeing the ones that aren't so good. And sadly, and in fact, I'm working with a client at the moment, a project up in North London, where he was quite keen to work with his previous builder. He'd worked with a builder before, but he'd asked us to tender this project, an HMO conversion was, a £200,000 project, so a sizable project. And he'd asked us to tender it, and we tendered it to others, and never did his existing builders shine. All the way through the tender process, he just didn't shine. And we've got to a point where our client has now accepted that there were far better builders than his previous builder, but because he didn't know anything better, he thought he couldn't get any better. Now we've demonstrated to him that there are better builders out there that are better organised and will give better feedback. He's actually quite happy accepting that there are better builders out there, and you'll only learn this, is what I'm saying, by doing this. And sadly, you will have not some appalling builders. Hopefully, you never have appalling builders, but you will sadly have builders that are not as good as they might be. And that still happens for me. I still get builders that do work for me that don't turn out as good as we were hoping they would be. And then it just becomes a process of managing them through. But you've got less likelihood of finding those if you start with a big list and you are still talking to 4 people. When if you've got prices from 4 builders, you've still got some choice in front of you. You haven't got to that point where, well, I've only got one price, so I've got to start him. And he's going to be rubbish, because that's not where you want to be.